Hello all and welcome to week number 5 of course Fundamentals of Electrical Engineering WE119. So let's have a quick overview of the previous week. In week number 4 we discussed nodal analysis. First of all we discussed what is circuit analysis, in which we uh, discussed that the objective of circuit analysis is to have the value of voltage across a branch and the current through each element in the branch so that we can find the secondary parameters if needed. And then we moved on towards the first circuit analysis technique, which is nodal analysis, right? And in nodal analysis, we studied that this analysis is based on KCL, that is Kirchhoff's current law, and it gives the values of voltages at the nodes. And then we found out that if there is a voltage source present in nodal analysis, then and it is present between two non-reference nodes, then it becomes the case of a supernode analysis, and it is solved by open circuiting the by short circuiting the voltage source. And then we have one or two equations short, and we found out the remaining equations by applying KVL to the loop containing the voltage source, right? So in this week we will be studying two more techniques, that is mesh analysis and super mesh analysis. Basically this is the same technique, and again super mesh analysis is a specific type of is a specific scenario, a specific case of mesh analysis. So what itself is mesh analysis and what are the steps involved in mesh analysis? Mesh analysis is a method that is used to find the loop currents. What is a loop? We have already discussed that a loop is a closed path in a circuit, and mesh analysis is used to find out the loop currents, and this is based on the KVL, that is Kirchhoff's voltage law. So what are the steps that are involved in mesh analysis? The first step is to have the identification of all loops in the circuit, and in the second step the we need to assign currents to all loops in the circuit. I think there is a small mistake, let me correct it. This is assign to all loops in the circuit, it's not all loops. So it's assign currents to all loops in the circuit, and then we need to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law to each loop, and then resulting equation we need to convert the value of voltages into the value of currents by the help of Ohm's law. I is equal to V upon R, and when we are converting the voltages into the currents, it is V is equal to I R, that is the product of voltage and current, right? So and then we find out that the resulting system of linear, by solving the resulting system of linear equations, we can find out the value of mesh currents, right? So if a current source, now the point number 4 focuses on a specific scenario, that if we have a current source which is a part of any loop, then there are two cases. The first case is that the current source is only a part of a single loop, right? It is not common between multiple loops. So in that case, point 4 highlights that the loop current will become equal to the source current, right? So basically, we have just three major steps. The first step is we need to identify loops in the circuit and assign them loop currents, and then we need to apply KVL to each loop. And as far as the polarities of resistances are concerned, we will also see that in the example, if the polarities of the resistances are not marked, then we consider that the current entering terminal is positive and the current leaving terminal is negative, right? So, and if the polarities are already marked, then we cannot change it in the circuit, right? So we need to apply KVL in the loop and convert the values of voltages into the product of current and resistance using Ohm's law, and then we need to solve out the system of resulting linear equations, right? So let's move on towards the examples part. Okay, now once we have discussed the basic steps that are involved in mesh analysis, let's move on towards a few numericals of mesh analysis, and then we will also see the examples of super mesh analysis. So the question is the same: solve the given circuit using mesh analysis technique, right? And here is your question. Let me copy it. Okay, so this is our question. As you can see, this involves four resistances across and two voltage sources, and this circuit here you can see has two mesh or two loops, we can say. Basically these are the independent loops, and if I mark them, let's start from this point. So we move here, 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 and we end up at the same point, and we say that the current through this loop is named as I1. Similarly, we have this loop which starts from this point and then moves in a closed path to end up at the same point, and we can say that the current through this loop is now I2, right? Now coming towards loop number 1, so let's apply KVL to loop 1. Now we can see that here we have a voltage source, two resistances, and a second voltage source involved in this loop, right? Now this thing is very important. If the polarities of the resistances, I am repeating it again, if the polarities of the resistances are not marked, if the polarities of the resistances are not marked, then you need to assign the polarities in such a way such that the current is entering the positive terminal. Here the current is entering the resistance, so it should enter the positive terminal. This one will be negative. Similarly, here the current is moving in this direction, so it should be entering the positive and leaving the negative, right? And once you have defined the polarities, you cannot change these polarities, right? You cannot change these polarities. So the first step, here there is no branch involved, it is entering the negative terminal, that means minus 15, right? Plus the voltage at 5 ohms resistors plus V 5 ohms plus V 10 ohms plus 10 is equal to 0, right? I hope this is clear, and it will become. Now another thing that you people need to see is that here you can see this 10 ohm resistance. If I draw this 10 ohms resistance as a separate resistance, right, this has a value of 10 ohms, here is the positive polarity and here is the negative polarity, right? Now analyze this circuit. How much is the current passing through this resistance? Very importantly, you can see or you need to analyze rather, that this resistance has two types of currents, has two currents flowing through it, right? Which two currents? You can see the first current is I1 and the second current is I2. And why is this case is involving two currents? Because this particular resistance, which is 10 ohms in value, basically this resistance is common between loop 1 and loop 2, right? This is loop 1 and this is loop. Since this resistance is common between loop 1 and loop 2, that means it will be carrying both the currents. I1 is in this direction here, right? This current is I1 and I2 is in this direction, right? Now you can see that one current is entering the positive terminal of the resistance and the next current I2 is entering the negative terminal of the resistance, which means that the net current through the resistance, right, which means that the net current through the resistance will be how much? It will be the difference of these two currents. The net current through this resistance of 10 ohms will be how much? Plus I1. Plus I1, why? Because I1 is entering the positive terminal, and minus I2 because I2 is entering the negative terminal. Understand? So when we are talking about the voltage drop at this resistance, so it will be V 10 ohms is equal to 10 times of I 10 ohms, or we can say that 10 times of I1 minus I2. Understand? Because the net current through this resistance is I1 minus I2. Neither complete I1 is flowing through this resistance or nor I2. I1 current is entering in one direction and I2 current is in opposite direction. It is the same case as we discussed in intermediate, that we have a particle. So let's do it in a bit rough work. That we have a particle F on which let's say we have a particle A on which two forces are acting, right? Let's say we have a particle A on which two forces are acting. One is the weight of the particle, which is acting downwards, and the other one is the force acting upwards, right? So we can write it as maybe F1. So we say that the net force is equal to the difference of F1 and weight, and it will determine the direction of movement of the particle. Why? Because there are two forces acting in opposite direction, and since these two forces are acting in opposite direction, which means that these will be subtracted. Why? Because they are negating the effect of each other. Same is the case or scenario here, that I1 current is entering the positive terminal, whereas I2 current is entering the negative terminal, which means these two are opposite in manner, so they will be subtracted in order to find the net current, right? I hope this is clear. So let's cross out this example. Okay, once it is clear, coming back to the example, we can see plus 10 minus 15 will be equal to 5. So V5 ohms, how much is V5 ohms? It's very easy. We know that V is equal to IR, and 5 ohm is carrying only a single current. Why? Because it is a part of one loop. So it will be 5 times of I1 plus V10. And why we have written plus V10? Because here it is entering the positive terminal, right? So plus 10 times of I1 minus I2 is equal to 5. So we can write it as 5I1 plus 10I1 means 15I1 minus 10I2 is equal to 5, right? So this is our equation number 1. We can write it as equation 1, right? And now coming towards loop 2, let's apply KVL to loop 2. Now again we need to see a few things, since this is our very first question of this topic. Coming towards loop 2, first of all we need to assign the polarities to this loop, right? Here we can see that the voltage source of course has its polarity marked, but now the 10 ohm resistance already has its polarity marked. We cannot change this polarity. No, its polarity will remain the same. Understand? We cannot change the polarity of this 10 ohm resistance. And yes, for 6 ohm resistance polarity is not marked, so we will consider that the current is entering the positive terminal, and leaving the negative. Same will be the case for 4 ohms resistance, right? So if we apply KVL to this loop, and starting from this point, the first voltage that we have encounter or that we will encounter is the 10 volts, and since the current is entering the negative terminal, so its voltage will be minus 10 volts. Similarly, we can see that for 10 ohm resistance, again the current is entering that negative terminal, so the sign of voltage will be minus V10 ohms plus V6 ohms plus V4 ohms, right? So what will be our equation? It will be minus 10 plus minus V10 ohms plus V6 ohms plus V, basically V is representing the voltage drop at 4 ohms. And let me repeat again why we have taken this as minus, because the polarities at the 10 ohm resistance were marked for loop number 1, or when we were writing the equation for loop number 1, and we know that we cannot change the polarity. So now we have to keep the same polarities. Yes, for those elements where the polarities are not marked, yes, no issue in that. You are supposed to mark the positive terminal where the current is entering. Another question that a few of you may ask, that we now at the moment we have taken the current direction to be clockwise. What if we take the current direction to be anti-clockwise? So let me tell you one thing. Even if you take the current direction as anti-clockwise, this will have no impact. The answer will be the same. But the important thing is you need to have the same direction throughout the question. If you are having a clockwise direction, then all loops must be in clockwise direction. If you are having anti-clockwise direction, then all loops must be in anti-clockwise direction. That is solely up to you, right? So we have already designed our equation. Now again coming back towards this 10 ohm resistance, we need to convert its voltage as a product of resistance and current. So what will it become? Minus plus, right? Now we can see again the polarities are same. I1 is entering the positive terminal, I2 is entering the negative terminal. So what will be its voltage in terms of resistance and currents? Equal to 10 minus V10. Minus sign will remain as it is, right? 10 times I1 minus I2. Clear? I1 minus I2. Why I1 minus I2? Because I1 plus I1. Why? Because I1 was entering the positive terminal. Here I2 is entering the negative terminal, that means minus I2. Clear? 10 ohms is the resistance, and this one is the sign due to the polarity of voltage. It is showing voltage rise or drop. These signs positive and negative show voltage rise and drop, right? So plus V6 ohms. 6 ohms is pretty simple. It only involves one current because it is a part of only one loop, so it will be 6 times of I2 plus 4 times of I2, right? Plus 6I2 plus 4I2 is equal to 10. So it will become minus 10I1 plus 10I2 plus 6I2 plus 4I2 is equal to 10. So it becomes minus 10I1 plus 10, 6, 16 and plus 20I2 is equal to 10. That makes our equation 2, right? So that makes our equation 2, and this is our equation 1. So we have two variables with two unknowns. We know that we can simultaneously solve them to find the solution, right? So solving equation 1 and 2, the answer that we find out through, of course through calculator, you can also find it by manual substitution, is that I1 is equal to 1 amperes and I2 is equal to 1 amperes, right? So this is our final answer. So I hope that it is clear now how to solve a question using using mesh analysis. Let's move on to another question. The statement is find the mesh currents for the circuit shown in given figure. Okay, fine. Find the mesh current for the circuit shown in given figure. Let me draw the circuit now. Right, so this is our circuit for the second practice question. So let's start it. First of all, we need to identify how many mesh are present in this system. Here you can see that there are 3 loops present in the system, and we can mark them. First, in the first step, this is loop number 1 with current I1. This is the direction. Then we have the loop number 2 with current I2, right? And finally we have loop 3 with current I3, right? So first of all, what we need to do is we need to apply mesh analysis to loop number 1. So let's do that. Apply KVL to loop 1, right? Now we need to assign the polarities plus minus, since we do not have the polarities defined, so we will be assuming that the current is entering the positive terminal, right? So starting from this point, first of all, the voltage, the first voltage that we encounter is minus 24 volts, right? The next voltage that we are encountering is the 10 ohm resistance, which we can write plus. Why plus? Because it is entering the positive terminal, so the voltage will be taken as positive, plus V 10 ohms, again plus V 12 ohms is equal to 0, right? So we can write it as V 10 ohms plus V 12 ohms is equal to 24, right? Now we need to check how can we represent this voltage at 10 across 10 ohm resistance and the voltage across 12 ohm resistance as a function of resistance and current, right? So we can see that here the voltage if we look at this 10 ohm resistance, it is involving how many currents? We need to check how many loops it is a part of. It is a part of two loops, right? Loop 1 and loop 2. So it will involve two currents, and here we can see that I1 current is entering the positive terminal. This complete is I1. It is going here and then coming back, right? So I1 current is entering the positive terminal of this resistance and I2 current is entering the negative terminal, right? I should have drawn I1 a bit extended because its path of flow is this, right? So it is entering the positive terminal and I2 from this point is entering the negative terminal, right? So what will be the resistance? 10 ohms. We had 10 ohm resistance, so it will be 10 times I1 is entering the positive terminal, that means plus I1, and then we have I2 entering the negative terminal, that means minus I2. Similarly, when we are talking about the resistance of 12 ohms, again it is a part of two loops, but here the loops are V1, loop 1 and loop 3, and I1 is entering the positive terminal, right? So the resistance is how much? 12, and I1 is entering the positive terminal, so it will mean plus I1, and here I3 is entering the negative terminal. This is the flow of I3, right? This is the direction of I3, so it is entering the negative terminal, which means minus I3 is equal to 24. I hope it's clear now. And it will be now how much? We can simplify it like 10 I1 and 12 I1, it becomes 22 I1 plus minus 10 I2 minus 12 I3 is equal to 24, and this is our equation number 1, right? So this is our equation number 1. I hope it is clear now, there is no confusion in it. So let's move on towards the second part, and considering loop 2, apply KVL to loop number 2. So here we can see that this particular loop involves three resistances: 4 ohm resistance, 10 ohm resistance and 24 ohm resistance, right? Here the polarities of 10 ohm resistance are already marked, so we cannot change them, and the polarities of other resistances are not marked here, so we will mark them, considering that the current entering the positive terminal, current will enter the positive terminal here and also here, right? So when we apply KVL to this loop, the loop equations will be, here we can see the current is entering the positive terminal, so the voltage will be plus V 4 ohms. Then we can see that the current is now entering the negative terminal, then it will be minus V 10 ohms, and in the third one we have the 24 ohm resistance and the current is entering the positive terminal, so the voltage will be considered as positive, equal to 0, right? And now when we convert this 4 ohm resistance into the product of resistance, the voltage across 4 ohm resistance into the product of resistance and current, you can see that this 4 ohm resistance is common among two loops, right? Loop number 2 and loop number 3. So considering this 4 ohm resistance, I2 is entering the positive terminal, whereas I3 is entering the negative terminal of this loop, right? So it will be 4 times, which is the value of resistance, I2 minus I3, right? Minus V10 ohm will be 10 times, I2 is entering from negative terminal, so it will be minus I2, and I1 is entering from positive terminal, so it will be plus I1. Similarly, 24 ohms is not a part of any other loop, so it will be simply 24 I2 is equal to 0, or you can write 4 I2 plus minus 4 I3 plus 10 I2 plus minus 10 I1 plus 24 I2 is equal to 0, right? So I1 will be minus 10 I1, I2 here we have 10 plus 4 14 plus, so plus 38 I2, and then we have the value of I3, which is minus 4 I3 is equal to 0, and we can name this equation as equation number 2, right? So now we need to apply KVL to equation number 3, to find equation number 3 with the help of loop number 3. Here is equation number 3. You people can see that here we can see we have 2 resistances and a dependent source, right? So let's start by applying. If we start from this point, the polarities are already marked, so it will be minus V12 ohms, then it will be minus V4 ohms, right? So when you apply so it will be minus V12 ohms minus V4 ohms plus 4 times of I0 is equal to 0, right? So again, when we are looking at this example, and we see that here 12 ohms, since it is common between two loops, so it will the net current through this resistance will be the difference of two currents. I1 is entering the positive terminal and I3 is entering the negative terminal, right? So it will become minus 12 minus I3 plus I1, right? Similarly, the 4 ohm resistance, we can see here I2 is entering the positive terminal, I3 is entering the negative terminal, so it will be 4, which is the resistance, I2 minus I3 plus 4 is equal to 0. Now one thing we need to see is, or let's write it 4I0. One thing we need to understand is that here 4I0 is creating a bit of an issue. Why? Because we have three equations, 1, 2 and 3, but this third equation is involving a fourth variable, which is I0. So we need to get rid of this I0 and we need to replace it in terms of its equivalent values, that is in terms of I1, I2 and I3. Now what is I0? I0 is basically the magnitude of the dependent source. Since it is a rhombus, so it shows a dependent source, and we know and that since it is a dependent source, so I0 must be mentioned somewhere in the circuit, and here you can see that I0 is already mentioned in the circuit, which means that I0 is actually the current flowing through the 10 ohm resistance. So if I draw the 10 ohm resistance separately, let's draw it here, right? So we can see that here this current is I1, I0, this current is I1, and this current is I2. So what will be I0? We can say that, see that I0 and I1 have the same direction, whereas I2 is in opposite direction. So I0 will be equal to I1 minus I2. Why I1 minus I2? Because I1 has the same direction as compared to I0 and I2 has opposite direction. So the net current will be equal to I0 minus I2, and this is what we need to do here. We will write, we know that I0 is equal to I1 minus I2, so it will become minus 12 I1 plus 12 I3 minus 4 I2 plus 4 I3 plus 4 I1 minus I2 is equal to 0, right? So I hope that this is clear now, and now we just need to arrange the things and simplify. Minus 12 plus 4 will be minus 8 I1 minus 4 I2 minus 4 I2, that will be minus 8 I2, and then 12 I3 4 I3 16 I3 plus 16 I3, right? Let's solve this one. Just wait a minute. I1 we solve two terms. I2 was 1 2 3 4 5 6, okay, fine, is equal to 0. So this will be our equation number 3, right? And we all know how can we solve equation in a calculator. So solving equation 1, 2 and 3 will yield the values of mesh current, right? So you can solve them by yourself. I have just written here that we have formed the equations. So let me just repeat briefly what we have done in the equation, what we have done in this question. We had 3 loops, loop 1, loop 2, loop 3. We can also mark it as loop 2 or loop 3. Numbering can change, the direction can change, no issue in that, right? So first of all, we applied KVL to loop number 1, and starting from this point, the first voltage that we encountered was minus 24, magnitude was 24. Why minus? Because the current was entering in the negative terminal. Then we came across the 10 ohm resistance, for which two currents were involved. I1 current was entering the positive terminal, then I2 was entering the negative terminal. Similarly, for 12 ohm resistance, I1 is entering the positive terminal and I2 is entering the negative terminal here, right? Then we moved on to we formed equation number 1, then we moved on towards equation number 2, and then finally we moved on towards equation number 3. When we had a look at 3 equations, we found out that there were 4 variables involved. In addition to I1, I2 and I3, there was a 4th variable, I0 also involved. So our task was to represent this variable I0 in terms of I1, I2 and I3, so that we can have a unique solution using 3 equations. We can see that this I0 is mentioned in the question, and this I0 is the current through the 10 ohm resistance. So we expressed this I0 in terms of I1 minus I2. We can see that I0 and I1 have the same direction, so I0 will be equal to plus I1 minus I2. Why minus I2? Because it is in opposite direction, or in other words, you can say that since I0 was entering the positive terminal, right? I0 was entering the positive terminal, so plus I0 is equal to I1 is also entering the positive terminal, plus I1 minus I2. It's the same, right? So by this we found out the value of I0, and then we had 3 equations with 3 unknowns. So by solving them, we'll give the final value of mesh currents I1, I2 and I3. Okay, so let's continue with one more example. This will be the last example of mesh analysis, then we will move on towards super mesh. The question is again the same: find mesh currents for the circuit shown in figure. Right, so let me draw the circuit first. Ohms, 6 ohms, 0.5 amps, we have 8 ohms, then we have plus 6 volts, and finally, okay. So this is our question of the circuit for this question, and we can again see that we have 3 loops, but with 4 resistances, 1 voltage source and a current source. So since we can see that we have a current source now, so we cannot calculate the exact voltage across a current source, because in KVL we are working on because in mesh analysis we are working on KVL. That means we need to have the voltage across each branch. For current sources, it is not possible to have the voltage across each branch, because we are saying that the current sources are considered to be ideal, right? They will supply the constant amount of current irrespective of the voltage. So you cannot find the voltage across this branch, right? Unless there is some resistance involved, which we will look at in the upcoming lectures. So whenever a current source is present, then the mesh analysis technique needs to be certainly needs to be changed in a few steps. Here we can see that so let's first start by marking the loops, right? So this is our loop number 1, and then we have loop number 2, and finally we have this loop number 3. Here we can see that we have a current source, but the good thing about this current source is that it is part of only a single loop, right? And since this is a part of only a single loop, we have already discussed, then what will happen? Straight away you can write by circuit inspection we can see that here the mesh current, because we have already discussed this, that whenever we have a voltage source, whenever we have a current source, it is a part of single mesh, then the mesh current becomes equal to the source current, and you can see that they are also in the same direction, so it will be plus 0.5 amperes. You can see that the direction of this 0.5 ampere current is upward, and the direction of I1 current is also upward, so that the source current, the mesh current will become equal to the source current, right? So now since we have already got the value of one mesh current, so will be needing only 2 equations, right? So we won't be needing any third equation, but the thing is We still need to mark the polarities. Are the polarities for loop number 1. Then for loop number 2, since one polarity is already defined, we will considering the current entering the positive terminal, and this will be for loop number 3 or mesh number 3, we can say, right? So let's start the question now. I hope it is clear what we have done. I think let's have a brief overview of what we have done so far. The question involved a current source, but the thing is the current source was only a part of a single loop, so that the mesh current, which was I1 in that particular mesh, became equal to the source current because their directions were also the same, right? And for the remaining loops, now we have marked the polarities up till now, and now we are moving towards forming the mesh equations, right? So let's move on. Apply KVL to loop 2, right? Here it is loop 2, and now I can see that the current is entering the negative terminal of this 3 ohm resistance. So the voltage will be minus V3 ohms. Then it enters the positive terminal of 4 ohm resistance, so plus V4 ohms. Then it enters the positive terminal of the 6 ohm resistance, so it will be plus V6 ohms is equal to 0, right? And when we are talking about the 3 ohm resistance, we can see that I1 current is entering the positive terminal, whereas I2 is entering the negative terminal. So 3 ohm resistance, the voltage across this resistance will be the product of 3 ohms, which is the value of resistance I1, or you can also write plus I1 minus I2, right? Since 4 ohm resistance is only a part of single loop, so its voltage will be simple, plus 4 I2, and finally there will be plus 6. I2 is entering the positive terminal, I3 is entering the negative terminal, so it will be 6 I2 plus minus I3 is equal to 0, right? So it will become minus 3I1 plus 3I2 plus 4I2 plus 6I2 minus 6I3 is equal to 0, and the equation upon simplification will give 3I1 minus 3I1, 3I2, 4I2, 7I2, 7, 6, 13I2 plus 13I2 minus 6I3 is equal to 0, and this will give equation number 1. Okay. So I hope you are clear with that. Now one thing that you people can do, or we can also do it laterwards after this. So let's first apply KVL to loop 3, right? Now we can see that this is 8 ohm resistance, and since the current is entering negative side, so it will be minus V8 ohms minus V6 ohms minus 6 is equal to 0, right? So it will be minus V8 ohm. I1 is entering the positive, I3 is entering the negative, so it makes 8 I1 minus I3 minus I2 is entering the positive, I3 is entering the negative. I2 minus I3 is equal to 6. So that makes minus 8 I1 plus 8 I3 minus there will be 6, right? Yes. Minus 6 I2 plus 6 I3 is equal to 6, and minus 8 I1, the value of I2 is still minus 6 I2 plus 14 I3 is equal to 6, right? so this will form equation number 2, and we don't have the need for a third equation. Why? Because we already know that the value of I1 is how much? The value of I1 is 0.5 ampere, so we can substitute its value, right? So put the value of I1 is equal to 0.5 ampere in equation 1 and 2, right? So equation 1 will be updated. It will become -3 times 0.5 plus 13I2 minus 6I3 is equal to 0. So it will become 13I2 minus 6I3 is equal to 1.5, right? And equation 2 will become -8, 0.5 minus 6I2 plus 14I3 is equal to 6. So it will become -6I2 plus 14I3 is equal to 6 plus 4. So it will become 10. So here you can see that we have got two equations. We can name them as equation 3 and equation 4, and these are the two equations with two unknowns. So solving equation 3 and 4 will give the values of I3 and I2. So you can solve these by yourself in the calculator. I hope that this example is also clear now, and you people are pretty much clear about solving a circuit using mesh analysis technique.